Thank you to our Patreon supporters, Shane S., Matt J., Claire G., James P. They're supporting our podcast over at patreon.com/whatweremember. That means they get access to our Patreon exclusive episodes, Back to the Future, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and next month, Men in Black. Find us online at facebook.com/whatweremember, twitter.com/whatweremember, and whatweremember.com.
Everything at my work is all automated, though. So it's like the light switch turns on when you open the door. The toilet flushes itself. The water comes on itself.
Oh, man.
The air dryers, you just put your hands inside it and it dries it.
Yeah, now
everything is automated.
At my work, we moved to like another floor of the office, and now we actually have individual bathrooms instead of like big group ones. And I'm like, okay, this works. But they have the automated lights.
I will say I don't like most of the automated stuff.
The lights, I'm always weird because if I go in the bathroom and the lights on, I'm like, someone was in here recently.
The problem that I have is that the sink, when it's automated, it's always cold right off the beginning.
Oh, yeah,
you can never turn on the hot or the cold or both at the same time. It's just one temperature.
Yeah.
And you have to sit there and wash your hands with cold water.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
That's true.
And then the other problem is that the toilet is so sensitive that you'll be sitting on it and it will flush
multiple
6
times.
times.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I'm like, this is so energy inefficient that it shouldn't be here. We're wasting so much water by doing this.
Yeah.
Do you stand up between like poops? Like you poop one and then stand up? And then you
I
sit
usually
down and-
do
and then you
burpees as I'm
multiple-
taking a shit.
It's great for your thighs.
Yeah. Bad for the environment. It's great for your thighs.
Not only do I engage my my glutes, I also engage my asshole.
Your colon and lower intestine, all of it's engaged.
Get some kegels in, you know.
My name is Bradley Jones.
I'm Andrew Moldenhauer.
And I'm Andy Hubert.
And this is not a movie review podcast, but a podcast where we try to remember what happened in a movie we haven't seen in a very, very long time. This is what we remember about Robocop.
Were there 2 or 3 bad guys in Home Alone? And who was that forgetful fish in Finding Nemo? Join us as we're watching films. See what we remember and what memories we kill. Let's start the show. Here we go. This is what we remember.
Happy 30th anniversary, Robocop.
Yeah,
This movie is 30
you
years
did it.
old.
And we're near Detroit, where the movie takes place.
Yeah, have they put in that statue they were
No,
gonna put in?
okay, so
I thought they did.
No, they didn't, because they made the statue. If people aren't from Detroit, back in 2010, there was a big campaign to build a RoboCop statue.
Peter Weller endorsed it.
And a crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
for it.
Crowdfunding. They made. I think they raised $10,000.
Oh, they raised
$15,000.
they raised more than they needed for it, I think.
So I asked someone about this a while ago, and I haven't really verified it, so take this with a grain of salt. Apparently, someone ended up buying the statue once it was finished.
Oh, okay.
They bought it for the price that it was made for, or
for?
whatever, or the amount that was raised. So never actually. It was gonna go at Campus Martius, I believe, near where Joe Louis is.
See, I read that they were going to put it there, and then the city finally came in and was like, "We don't want a RoboCop statue."
Why would you not want
not?
that?
I know, right?
Take
Look,
photos with it?
look. There's only so much you can really celebrate in Detroit. That's one of them. That's one of the big ones.
You get Eminem and you get RoboCop. And those are the only we don't count Kid Rock, but he's out there.
Yeah.
Well, and the movie RoboCop doesn't really paint Detroit badly. I mean, there's crime. Well, hear me out. There's crime. There's crime in Detroit. Yes.
Do you remember RoboCop?
No, I don't. I mean, it doesn't. There's crime in all cities, but it's just set in Detroit. It doesn't I don't think it really. I'm hoping
in the
it
movie
doesn't.
it's like the number
I'm
one
hoping
crime
it
city in
Yeah,
the
that's why they're-
Well, that's
US.
because it was a fact at the time.
Right.
Well,
and that's why they privatized the police, is because they're the regular police can't handle it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it and be like, I'm wrong.
It's gonna be it's just 100% ruined dystopia.
Exactly.
So I think this movie starts out with some fake out commercials, because that's just something that
Is this for the company that's building
Who was the director?
Paul Verhoeven, same dude who did Starship Troopers.
Same guy that did Starship Troopers.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
There's some sort of weird commercial where there's just a bald guy with glasses and he's surrounded by a bunch of ladies in bikinis, and he just says, "I'll buy that for $1." That's the big catchline.
Does he?
From this movie? Yeah.
That's gonna be really good. I hope you put
It
in
happens a few times
I need
in the film.
you to put in a little clip of that commercial right now. It's gonna be good. It's gonna sound exactly like I'm gonna sit on my butt. It's gonna work out.
I I'd buy that for $1.
Okay, so what was the commercial for? Is this like a...
It's like they're going through a bunch of news reports, and they're talking about how crime-ridden
kind of
Detroit
setting the
is.
scene, yeah.
They're talking about the OCP, who is the group who kind of owns the city.
Yeah.
They're sort of like this big organization that oversees basically everything, like food and electricity, and
Yeah, they're this
it's the whole
massive
town.
conglomerate that
Right.
just runs
It's
everything.
the Johnson and
basically.
Johnson.
So it's like a
of,
company that runs the city?
Yes,
Yeah,
basically.
it's a giant
wow.
business company.
Okay.
And we got one of my favorite actors, Peter Weller,
Peter
hanging
Weller,
out.
yep.
He's Alex
Murphy.
Murphy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he's just a beat cop trying to make it on
scratch
the
a
street.
living, yeah.
Yep, scratch it up.
But he has a partner.
Yep. Lewis, I believe, is her character name. Nancy Allen, but I don't know if she has a first name. She gets called Lewis a lot in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a main bad guy. I'm not sure when he gets introduced, but Kurtwood Smith, aka Red Foreman.
Yeah.
Foreman, yep.
Oh my God, he looks so he looks the same, but he also looks totally different.
I think that's an accurate description. He looks
He
totally
has
the same, but
he has
totally
the same
different.
bald hair, but like it's just weird looking at him with glasses on, and he's what at that point he's 20 years younger or
Yeah.
10 years younger.
He's like 18 years old in the movie.
he looks like it, yeah.
That's one of those weird. It's like a Clark Kent moment where he puts on glasses and you're like, "Who's that?"
And he is working for a guy named Dick Jones, who I believe is like the president or some sort of very high uppity up guy in the OCP.
Yeah.
And he's basically controlling the crime in the city. It's sort of like a cyclical thing.
So like he's
Going on.
creating the crime, and they're also busting the crime at the same time.
Yeah. Well, OCP in general,
Yeah.
like they own
OCP
the
's
police
super
force.
shady.
But at the same time, yeah, they also run a bunch of illegal activities.
Sure.
So there's like this big.
It's all profit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all about making money.
So what are they running exactly? Are they running drugs? Yeah.
Yep. I forget what exactly. Maybe it has a fancy name in the movie. I know in the second movie it's called Nuke. But I don't know the first movie what the drug's called. Because there's a part in this movie
crack cocaine.
where Robocop breaks up like a drug plant that comes like pretty later in the movie. So that's
Okay.
they're definitely drug running.
So we get that like right in the beginning that he's like doing a drug deal because
I believe so.
doesn't
Or just he's like controlling
Murphy,
crime.
Murphy like comes into like doesn't he like run after him in the beginning?
Yeah, he's just like a regular cop going out on a bust, I believe. He's got a sweet little helmet on.
But he goes with his partner, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know when it happens, but they ultimately chase these bad guys down to a warehouse, and that's when the SHIT goes down.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
and
Or up into the fan.
But I think we before this we get some moments of his home life because that plays an important part of RoboCop and
Yes.
like remembering things.
Yep.
So I'm guessing you see him like
You
be
see
a
like
dad and
pictures of
stuff.
like his fan.
His
Oh,
wife
well,
and
that's
kids.
later. That
yeah.
that is later.
You see his memories. They're like infused inside of his RoboCop brain.
Yeah. So you think like we get a shot with him and his family
Yeah.
at the beginning?
Yeah,
Like having breakfast before going.
Like,
to
oh
work
yeah,
or
like
something.
getting ready for his shift.
That's like a classic cop movie.
Stay safe at work, honey. Just out there getting the bad guys, dear.
So I don't know if they're going on a generic bust or if they know they're officially going after Kurtwood Smith, but they end up chasing him down.
I think that they're in over their heads. Like they think they're chasing one guy down, and I think that guy leads them into a trap.
That's my expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're chasing one guy and he like runs to the main.
yeah. The
base of
trap
bad
is in the
guys.
warehouse where the gunfight happens.
I'm guessing maybe even he breaks up some sort of crime that happens before that, and Kurtwood Smith has it out for him. He like specifically wants to kill Alex Murphy because he did something before. Maybe he even gets like arrested and then like immediately let go, and it's like, oh, the crime and this. Like,
Oh,
there's
maybe
nothing
maybe he busted
I
him
like
before,
that.
and yeah, like the
Yeah.
powerful OCP guy has like pulled some strings to get him off,
to get him out again.
Yeah, and he's mad about it. He's like, that bastard.
Something like that probably happens, and then
Yeah.
and that's when they end up getting to that warehouse, and I don't know what happens to Lewis. Maybe she just
They
gets
get
knocked
split
out of
up.
her-
Yeah,
Like,
they definitely
split
get
up.
split up.
I think he's up on like a balcony or like
Yeah.
stairway or something like that, and she's down below.
Right. He ends up
And
getting shot
He
A million
gets-
times.
a million times.
Oh, yeah.
But first he just gets taken out just like a little bit, and then they start to get very sadistic about killing him.
Yeah.
In probably the most graphic scene in any movie ever, to this date even. He gets shot about 1 billion
They just
times.
blow him away.
There are squibs everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much blood. There's so many body parts. I'm pretty sure his arm gets blown off. Like, he's just totally... He definitely gets shot in the dick.
Having a bad day is
horrifying.
basically, yeah, he's just having a bad day.
Oh, yeah. A couple shotgun blasts to the chest.
Oh, jeez.
And, yeah, he's...
Don't worry, Andy.
He's RoboCop material.
Yeah, he's Swiss cheese. He's Swiss cheese
Yeah.
at this point. Also have to make mention that Ray Weiss also plays another bad guy.
Oh, Ray Weiss. I love Ray Weiss.
All right. I'll take your word for it. I don't remember it.
All your Ray Weiss fans out there, he's young and looking hung.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, let's pass by that.
No, write that down. We got to verify that for the part 2.
What are your measurements?
So Alex Murphy dies, and I think he has a funeral even.
Yeah.
How do they get his body out of the warehouse? Or do these guys just like run off and
I
just
don't
like the
know.
police come in and
I don't know.
Yeah,
break it up?
I think
and
Lewis
everything?
like finds him.
They probably just blow him away and then run off, and Lewis is like, no.
Yeah, she calls back up.
Cut to funeral. Him being buried. You see a photo of
Closed casket, of
Yeah.
course.
him. Everyone's sad.
That's because he's not in that casket.
Is it raining on the funeral?
I don't think it is.
It's like
I don't think it
90%.
does it
usually is,
rain?
though.
Look,
Well, I
90%
mean-
of movie funerals are being rained on.
But it's in Michigan, so the weather's inconsistent.
Yeah, the weather
who
is.
knows?
You don't know
whatever
if it's gonna
wants
rain
be,
on your
yeah.
funeral.
What about your parade, though?
Well, it's going to rain on that.
Macy's Day Parade is always raining. So it fades to black, and then we fade up, and then we're looking through Robocop POV of they're doing tests on him. And can you remember there was a guy earlier in the film that was trying to get the Robocop program to pass? He is a famous what we remember guy that we
Grodin?
love.
I hope it's Charles Grodin.
It's in episode 1.
Whoa! Oh my god!
Is it
Episode 1.
is it the villain in episode 1?
Oh man!
Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah, Miguel Ferrer.
I'm so
in
excited now.
peace.
I'm really
Rest in
excited.
peace.
Now. Yeah.
He's gone?
Yeah, last year.
Oh no.
Yep.
We should have did a memorial for him.
Well, here it
Time's
is.
fast.
We'll do every Miguel Ferrer movie that we can think
Pour
of.
one out for Miguel Ferrer.
Now, can we hold up just 1 second?
Yep.
There's a sequence where is it OTC?
OCP.
OCP.
Yeah.
You're down with OPP. Okay.
What about ICP, though?
CP. They create a robot that doesn't work, and it ends up killing a bunch of people in the office as they're testing it out. Is that in the beginning? Is that later on? Is that Robocop 2?
That's a little bit later on.
That's this one, but
and
it
I
is
think
later on.
that's what gets people behind Miguel Ferrer's idea to
for the
go with Robocop, instead
because
of that
they,
other thing.
yeah, because I think they're more on board with like a cyborg instead of like an actual
Right,
robot.
because you're right. There is like a big demonstration
Yeah.
where like the machine ends up going crazy and designating the
and
whole
that
audience
scene has
targets.
always stuck with me out of the entire movie.
Yeah, there's one guy in a board meeting who like just pick up the gun and point it at it. It's like, and then he like threatens them like put down the gun, da-da-da-da-do.
And then he puts the
And he
gun
puts
down.
the gun down, but the thing doesn't stop. It like keeps it in its track. Like you have 5 seconds to comply.
And everybody in the boardroom is like
Staying away from this
staying
guy.
away from this guy,
Oh, yeah.
and he
Yeah.
gets blasted out of a window. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Like he like
That
gets
happens-
shot up and
I'm
blasted
pretty
out
sure
this
like
window.
at least 3 people get blasted out of windows in this movie. Like I feel like that's a reoccurring thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure. At least 2. I can guarantee 2 of them
Yeah.
happen.
Okay, so he's now becoming RoboCop.
Uh-huh.
Do they have like a
There's a
montage
lot
of
of,
putting
like-
them together? Or?
Yeah, well, he keeps coming in and out, and he keeps like you see
There's
things
a lot
on
of
the
testing,
screen.
yeah.
There's a lot of testing. There's text on the screen. We just think maybe it's his consciousness at some points. We don't know how much. We're gradually like it's like months are passing, and
Yeah.
RoboCop is getting put together and finalized.
Yeah.
So we see all that through his eyes, and we eventually get to like a big grand unveiling. Oh, there's even a part where one of the girls has sex with one of the guys while RoboCop is like watching them.
Oh, now I'm on board with this movie. I'm ready to watch
All
it.
right, let's get into that. What kind of position are they in? No, I'm just kidding.
Is it full nudity or is it
They're
like
doing robot style.
Oh,
Oh, I mean that's
open robot style.
that's a probe, so it's
And then eventually there's a big grand unveiling. We open up and it's like people cheering, drinking champagne, like, we're at RoboCop's online, here we go. And they fire him up, and I believe he just like gets out there and starts fighting crime. And I don't think anyone knows it's Alex Murphy. Lewis has to like figure it out.
Does he get his
that he's that
motorcycle
thing.
right away? His like cool motorcycle that he drives, or is he?
He might,
because I
he
know
gets that
he,
gun for sure.
Oh, the gun
Oh,
is
yeah.
a really cool.
That's classic.
I'm almost okay. I'm worried
That
that
gun is like
throughout-
a foot long.
I'm worried that through the course of this episode, I'm going to mix RoboCop 2 up with this movie because
Okay.
the two of them run together a lot in my head. But so
I think he gets a sweet motorcycle.
I know most of the police force drive around like really crappy old Ford Escorts, and like when he gets in it, it's like the whole car sinks way down or something. Like he's too heavy for this car.
It's like a Crown Vic or something like that.
No, it's a Ford Escort, Andy.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. It's an old Ford Escort.
Speaking of escorts, the first person I think RoboCop saves is some girl who's like a hooker getting like beat up by some dudes,
Oh.
Rude.
and RoboCop ends up like saving her.
And are the guys laugh at RoboCop first?
Yeah.
Like, what are you, a
they
metal
shoot,
man?
They shoot guns at him, and it's like ineffective. And
Yeah, it's like, pew, pew.
Ineffective
Just turns
them
citizen.
Okay, so he starts being RoboCop.
yeah,
Starts saving the day here and there.
yeah, he just crimes up the city.
Is
Starts
Murphy
making
skeptical
something
at
him.
first, or does she slowly think it's
Lewis?
Murphy? Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah,
Sorry.
eventually she's
it's
like
Murphy.
she catches on to what's going on.
What clues him in first, though? Because I feel like Murphy still has a level of his own consciousness.
It comes
away
up
from RoboCop.
It starts to bleed into it
'Cause he starts
he
looking
starts to
up-
remember his family.
Yeah,
and not
that's
only
what I was.
not only
yeah.
like remembering his family, he starts looking up like photo pictures through their like crime database.
Yeah, and that
to
becomes
find
that's part of the
people.
problem because that's when he comes up some of his old case files, and that's when he really starts to remember like the Red Foreman bad guy. And that's when he starts being like, "Holy crap, I'm
I was just
Murphy.
gonna
I gotta
call
get
him
that
Red
guy."
Foreman.
He even maybe has traumatic like stress syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, he's
PTSD.
reliving some of the
Yes.
him being in that warehouse again. And I think we do flash back to it, so we see it again. Him getting like totally destroyed.
Wiped out, yeah.
Yeah, I hope
He-
I hope it's the whole scene again.
And he even goes back to his house, I think.
Yeah.
To
like,
look
starts-
at
yeah.
Starts looking at
or-
photos and just trying to remember. piece it
Where's
together.
his family?
I was gonna say, does his wife come in and go like, "Oh,
I
why
don't
you at
know.
my home?"
It's been like months since he's been dead, so
I mean,
So they
yeah.
just
he's just not
moved
home at
along.
the time. Maybe he sees his kid and like she doesn't recognize him, and he doesn't let on to what's going on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like one of those like he sees them like he starts kind of watching them from across the street and remembering.
What? Here's a serious question. What are the ethical standards
Oh,
of
boy.
turning someone into a robot
Here,
without
boy,
their
Andy,
consent?
this is-
whoa,
This is
without
part
their-
2 questions, Andy.
Without their consent and also without informing their family that you're about to take your husband and father's body and put it into a robot.
I almost feel like they addressed it at some point where they're like,
There's some throwaway lines where they talk about he's like property of them.
yeah, when he
or
was
whatever.
a cop, like his contract that he signed when he became a cop allows them to do whatever they want basically after he's dead, or because he's OCP property basically at that point.
Oh my god, this place is messed up.
And that even once he realizes he is Murphy, at the same time he is still company property. Like he's not a person. I think that comes up too. That might also be RoboCop 2.
Yeah,
because
I mean-
RoboCop 2 addresses a lot
Well, he's
of
got
the
a bunch
same
of like
stuff.
directives in his head.
Yeah.
They have to
He's
address
being
it in this
controlled
one.
by OCP.
Yeah. I'm sure there's got to be some line in this movie. There's no way they can't brush right over that fact.
Right.
Especially if his family
Well, and I
doesn't
think
know
that's what
this.
Lewis is grappling with a lot of that.
Yeah.
Where she's like, how could you do this to Murph? Like, I assume she
Lewis-
calls him Murph.
Yep.
I
My boy Murph.
I think Lewis only finds out just by looking at like the bottom half of his face or something like that. I swear to God, no, I think there's a scene where
Okay,
she's like,
well-
she looks at him and she's like can start to say like, wait a second, that looks like Murphy.
Well, RoboCop, when he has his helmet off, he does have Peter Weller's face.
I was to say he has like
Does he-
like I know like the little visor bit can go up too, and you can see his eyes. Like they actually still exist.
yeah. Oh, I didn't know if she saw his face or not.
Yeah, I don't know if she
don't
does. I
know.
know
I
you
don't know.
can because he has the mask off quite a few times, and it's basically just because the costume was so just cumbersome.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, Peter Weller says it was like the worst thing ever. That's why he didn't want to do the third one. But
I mean,
He didn't do the third one?
no, they recasted him.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that. I probably haven't even seen the third one.
Yeah,
I mean, that costume is pretty bonkers. He's pretty huge. Like
Yep.
the gun they used to make his gun is a Beretta 93R. I know this is my realm, not yours, but that's our like. I mean, they make that into a huge gun, and it still looks pretty regular
is
in his
huge.
hand. But
I think I said it earlier. It looks like it's like a foot long.
yeah, it
away
does.
from his fist.
but it's sweet. It pops out of his leg, and
Yep.
Yeah.
it fires like
It's totally cool.
It's
I think there is
a lot of
the
rounds
one
at a
scene
time.
I'm really remembering. I'm like positive is RoboCop 2, but it's like when he went after they like reprogram him to be like super strict cop.
that's RoboCop 2.
And there's a guy like smoking, and he shoots like a silhouette around or an outline around the guy's head, and the cigarette falls on. He's like, "Thank you for not smoking," and
That's
just puts the
RoboCop
gun
2.
away.
Oh my God.
I love that scene.
In this movie, I think he does break up some sort of crime that involves a liquor store robbery. or like a gas station kind of
Yes,
deal.
I think it's a
Yeah.
gas station.
Okay.
He rolls up to something happening. Probably someone's robbing the gas station, and I think he's like going to stop them. And
or just like a liquor store. It may not be an actual gas station.
Sure.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
So he goes to stop them, and it turns out to be a big battle. And I think like at first they don't take RoboCop seriously.
Yeah.
But then he's like pulls out his gun and starts
Blasting them away.
blasting at them.
And they can't shoot him.
Well, they could, but probably won't do
Yeah,
anything to him.
it just bounces off everywhere.
So when does he become a problem for the guy at OCP? Because that guy eventually like calls, or does he call like the Red Foreman character and say like, I need you to take care of RoboCop, or does it the kind of the other way around where the Red Foreman guy's like, he's disrupting our crime activity?
That
and you
could.
need
I
to
think
take care
that's
of
it.
Okay.
But Miguel Ferrer ends up getting killed. Like
Oh, I know that.
No.
in the bitches leave
It's
scene.
so sad.
Well, I think it's a little bit later in the film. It's like almost right near the end, but there's a point where Miguel Ferrer is on the top of the world and he's doing cocaine off ladies' boobs and butts and stuff. And then Red Foreman comes in and says, "Bitches leave," and then kills him.
How you doing? Bitches leave.
Gee, Bobby. Bye. You gonna call me? Oh my God.
It's
Why
terrible.
is he?
In a
Why
sweet
does
scene.
he kill him?
Because he I think he ended up getting a hit put on him from Dick Jones, the OCP guy.
Okay.
I think that's the reason. Because Kurtwood Smith, aka Red Foreman, aka the guy I don't know his name in the
Kurt
movie.
Smith. I need to. Okay, Kurt. I'm committing it, so I stopped calling him Red.
Kurt Smith.
Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood.
Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood Smith. Just like Dabney Coleman. You got to remember these names are important.
Wow. Can't.
These classic names of these actors. Because he plays a video and the guy talks about how he's doing a bad job or whatever. The Dick Jones character to Miguel Ferrer, and then he ends up getting just shot. He did something. He just, I'm not sure what. I don't remember what.
Was this when they tried to set up a trap for RoboCop?
Yeah, that happens near the end of the film.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how far through it we are at this point.
I think there's a part where he gets beaten up pretty good because he's like falling down like a parking structure. He's like falling through the slats between levels, like
man.
rolling down.
He's
them.
rolling down
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And then Lewis is at the bottom of it, and Lewis like pulls him into the car, and that's when I think
How
when
does
they
she
have
pull
their
him? He
connection.
weighs like a ton, like literally a ton.
She can.
How does
she can
do
lift
that?
a ton.
I'm not sure. Yeah, he probably helps a little bit.
Probably.
Yeah, it's an assisted lift.
He's like rocket shoes, and
But I think that's when they have their moment of just like talking and like being buddies again and figure everything out.
kind of like it's like back in the old days.
I think she like lets him know that he's Murphy too.
Yeah.
Like, she like
He's
makes
trying
it
to
clear.
make it happen.
she's trying to get him to remember.
She's like, you are like we work together. You got shot.
and I
you
think
used to
she
have a
encourages
family.
him to look at the old files too of like his
Could
old
be.
cases.
Do you think there was like a love connection there?
I don't think there was. I think they were just.
I like to
total
think
bros.
that it was just it's just two partners doing a tough job.
Sure, and I can respect that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're with your partner more than your wife. But you just gotta be buds.
Right. Sometimes that love story could probably confuse
Like
the
Le-
plot
like-
they already have.
Yeah, like Lethal Weapon. I mean, those two love each other deeply.
Absolutely.
But it's
What?
just they're
Mel
just
Gibson and his dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you were talking about Donald Glover and Mel Gibson.
well, they do too. But
Oh, wow.
that's not the main part, though.
Does Lethal Weapon, is that their penises?
Yeah.
Are those the lethal weapons?
Brad, we need to cover this movie.
Did you
you
call
not
him
get
Donald Glover?
Danny Glover?
You call him Donald Glover.
Donald Glover's
It took me a
different
second.
person.
I was like, is that his name?
Don Glover from
I think all
Community.
Glovers look the same.
He's an undercover Glover. I already made that joke in an earlier podcast.
Well, make it again.
You got to make it every time. That's required.
people want it. They want to hear it.
They've been
Well-
asking for it. I mean, I think. It's just a guess.
Look, no one talks to us.
Nobody
no one tweets at us.
Nobody Facebooks us. We are in a vacuum when we're doing this podcast.
Sometimes, and it feels great.
I mean, I like listening to it.
Feels great.
So
Anyway,
I don't know much about the ending.
I don't know much.
I remember some. There's like.
Well, there's a big drug bust scene first.
Yes.
Yes.
There's got to be.
Yeah, and he like tears up this.
He
warehouse,
busts. He
and
busts
it's
into where
awesome.
they're like making the drug,
Yeah.
and
And he's like, "Stop making this drug right this second."
but I know like previously, the main
Previously on
the main
Robocop.
OCP guy. the main OCP guy had like given like special guns and equipment to Kurt.
He has like a rocket launcher.
He gets and he has like this armor-piercing sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Like he is like
Take
full-on
RoboCop out.
Yes, they specifically
any
like
means
here's the
necessary.
If you're
weapons
gonna
to
take him
kill
out,
RoboCop.
A rocket launcher is the way to go.
I don't think he uses because Kurt I think specifically has the giant sniper rifle with the. Like,
There's another guy that
tank.
has the rocket.
It's like
launcher.
an anti-tank rifle.
Got a RoboCop 2 question, or maybe one. Is there a little boy in this
That's
movie?
the second one.
Oh crap! Okay.
I see. No, you're doing the same thing. I like the
I'm
two
trying
of
to.
them.
I'm trying to weed out
The two of them
the
blend
bad
together
information.
pretty well. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Hey, those are alternative facts. We don't want those in here.
Yeah. We need some real news. We need the truth. Stop
That's
listening to
OCP talk is what that is.
topical.
Stop listening to CNN about what they think of OCP.
So they have like so he busts up the drug lab and there's like that's like the last 20 minutes of like this entire fight, which include some guy gets like burned in acid.
So
at some
there's
point.
a truck that's just full of toxic waste, as they all are. When you see,
Well, when
a
you're in
truck-
Detroit.
yeah, when you're in Detroit and you see any sort of truck, you can guarantee it's full of toxic waste, and that gets shot with a bullet, and then that opens up a little spray valve, and one of Kurtwood Smith's goons
So, yeah,
gets
one of his
hosed with the
henchmen.
toxic waste.
Like it's like mutated and melted.
Yeah, he turns into just some sort of creature whose
Yeah,
just
it's
entire
messed up.
body is melting. And he's looking for help. He like grabs Kurtwood Smith, like help me.
And he's like, Jesus, it's a mutant. Blast him.
No, he gets hit by a car. Robocop like splats him all over the front of the
Oh,
car,
I'm so excited to see this movie.
all over the windshield. Yeah,
God.
splat.
Yep.
Is there a car chase?
Sword. I mean, it's all
Probably.
part of one of the final fight. Like, yeah,
Okay. I think there's a car chase.
Probably.
In the final
I
fight.
assume there is.
Probably some car chases.
Because you're right. He does definitely get run over by the police car.
Well, I think they're like chasing. They're like doing a car chase like in and out of warehouse buildings.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
It's,
It's
like,
like
almost
it's
at like
daytime.
an airport or something like that.
and Kurtwood Smith has his like back against the wall. Is okay. Now I'm gonna do RoboCop 2.
Okay.
Oh.
Does this part where he gets caught with a magnetic lift? Does Kurtwood Smith have like a magnetic,
Oh.
that
That
sounds
seems
right.
more of like a 2.
but-
though.
like
it
on a
might
wrecking
be
ball
too.
kind of, on the front of like a crane magnetic lift.
That sounds right, but I don't know if it's 2 or 1.
I think that's more of a 2.
Maybe it's both of them.
I would. Yeah. Why not?
Maybe it's both films.
But at one point, he blows up Kurtwood Smith.
well, he chases him down, and that's when Kurtwood Smith spills the beans. Because later RoboCop plays it for the board meeting. Like,
Yes.
I work for Dick Jones. Dick Jones. Dick Jones. Like, we get it. You work for Dick Jones.
Okay, look,
Jeez.
name drop all over this place.
You cocksucker! I work for Dick Jones! Dick Jones! He's the number 2 guy at OCP! OCP runs the cops!
Because then he goes back to the OCP tower.
Well, he kills Kurtwood Smith with his little information blade
Oh,
in
man.
his hand that he has.
I didn't remember that, but that's gonna be cool.
Oh,
I can't
yeah,
wait.
because
I
he has
wanna
like a
see it.
USB thing. That's how he like accesses like files and stuff.
He has a USB razor blade.
Yeah.
Or claw, like Wolverine claw.
man.
Yeah.
And that's what he uses I'm pretty sure, to kill Kurtwood Smith. Like,
Brutal.
He was going to let him live, but then Kurtwood Smith was going to do something that was going to kill him. So he instinctively just
He's gonna light him on
stabbed
fire
him
with like
the USB.
gasoline and stuff.
Could be. He's gonna be like, "I'll kill your family if you let me live." And I was like, "Why did you tell him that? Don't tell him that, and then kill his family, you idiot." That's crime 101.
That's like in Home Alone 2 when Marv gives all the ideas away and Harry's like, "Shut up!"
That was really funny.
So RoboCop wants to go show them the evidence that Dick Jones is behind this. But he first has to fight Ned 209.
Yes, which is the big. Is that the big creature?
Yeah.
The big
or the big
robot?
robot? Yeah,
The big
the
robot.
failed robot.
That thing is so clunky. Doesn't it just fall down some stairs?
It does.
Yes, and it's really good stop motion. Like it looks pretty good.
Yep. It just falls down some stairs.
Look, they haven't worked all the kinks out.
It talks like a lion. It growls and yells.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it and RoboCop have like a pretty decent fight. I forget how RoboCop wins. Maybe with a grenade launcher or something.
It looks like a Gundam.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah,
exactly what
or
it
like
looks
Mech
like.
Warrior is one of
Right.
yeah.
Right.
or BattleTech, if you guys ever saw
That's
that.
that's what I was actually trying to think of as BattleTech because it looks
I
like the
knew what-
halfway form where it's like
I knew
half
what
Jet
Mech
Fighter
Warrior
or
and
was.
Exo Squad.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
You guys
we're
like
getting
classic
crazy.
90s cartoons. We're dishing them out.
He gets up to the OCP boardroom and the board is having like a whole meeting for some reason.
Well, I think they want to institute the Ed 209s. Like they figured them out, and they want to replace RoboCop and the police with these things.
And I'm wondering, like, if like RoboCop was causing controversies, so they were also talking about shutting down the RoboCop. Maybe that's number 2. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I feel like it's incidental
know.
at this
I think
point.
the people are behind RoboCop. He's like helping a lot of people.
But yeah, he busts in on the board meeting. But I know at one point he's like, the bad guy is basically just like, oh, well, then arrest me or shoot me or something. But he can't because he's programmed not to.
Yep.
Because he's not allowed to do anything to the board members.
He might not even be able to kill Kurtwood Smith. They might even like program that, and maybe Lewis ends up killing him.
Oh, maybe.
Something like that maybe happens.
I don't know.
I forget.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
about
think that part.
But I think there's a setup to he can't. I don't think this is the first time he couldn't kill somebody.
Okay.
I think this was set up before. But I can't remember when.
But yeah, he can't kill the bad guy because he's a board member.
Yeah, that for sure happens.
And at some point they're just like, "You're
Yeah,
fired."
the president fires him.
And then he's like, "Oh, now I can kill him."
Yeah,
And blows him away.
blows him away,
Wait, that was it?
and that's the end of the movie.
Wait a second.
And that's all there is. Welcome. That's all there. That's all that happens.
Let's unpack that. All he had to do was get fired and then kill someone? Like he couldn't kill someone when he was on company time?
Well, you know, he couldn't kill the guy
Yeah,
'cause
he was like
because
the
he's
president of the
the
company.
president of the company.
He has
And
prime
so-
directive.
Oh, I thought they fired RoboCop. I was like, how did that
Oh, they fired Dick Jones.
I love the idea of firing RoboCop.
That'd be good too.
In my head, I was like, how does
would
that
work either way, I
solve
think.
it?
Oh yeah, they fire Ed Jones, and that's when he's like, "Oh, now you're not an employee anymore."
So the board fires him.
Yes,
Okay.
the board is like the board just sitting there terrified because RoboCop's there going to kill them all, even though he can't.
He sticks that bloody USB into a slot and plays Kurtwood Smith.
He does, yes.
Spilling the beans.
And so that's when the board, who I had to believe
Some
the rest of
old
that board
dude.
is in on their own
Yeah.
illegal stuff, but they're like, "Oh, that guy's clearly a bad board member. We're the good board
Yeah,
members."
we didn't do any of
We
this.
didn't do it, and yeah, they give him a RoboCop, and he gets blasted out a window. I'm assuming.
Yep. And then we get bum 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 bum.
I was going to sing with you, but I didn't know it.
Is it immediately
It's
credits,
the same
or
song.
is there like a post?
I bet there's a freeze frame,
board
and it
scene-
says
like scene
the
with him and-
end.
I think it's just the end.
with him and what's her face?
Yeah, maybe he gets like a one-liner in there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like immediate credits after he kills the bad guy, or if it was going to be like and now we're the king of police.
And he gets a crown. He
Yeah.
gets painted gold, like Johnny Five in Short Circuit 2.
The racist.
I hope Short
the
Circuit's
racist
on our list
Short
because we
Circuit.
need to watch that.
So join us in part 2. We'll figure out what we got right, what we got wrong, and I'm sure a lot of things we missed.
Oh
my God,
there's
a
going to be so
ton.
much we missed.
Yeah.
We missed the whole middle of the movie.
He's just being RoboCop
Just hanging out, he's busting crimes.
and sweet moves.
But not nuts.
He's busting some nuts.
Oh, is he?
Oh yeah.
Bust my balls, RoboCop.
Oh, in that way. Oh, okay.
If you live in the Metro Detroit area, check us out in the Maynard Theater in Royal Oak, Michigan, Friday, August 4th at 11:30. We're going to be in the lobby talking about Back to the Future 2, right before their Back to the Future midnight showing. For more information about our live show, go to facebook.com/whatweremember. Thanks.
Bet you think you're pretty smart, huh? Think you could outsmart a bullet? What do you say we find out, huh? I'm talking to you! What do you say? Huh? Huh? I'm talking to you!
Drop it! Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
I know you. You're dead. We killed you!
Welcome back to the Dead or Alive, You're Coming With Me podcast. We watched RoboCop.
This movie was great. This movie was the best movie we've watched. on this
It's
show.
really good. I have to apologize straight out the gate though, guys. I'm really sorry. I misled you. It was not a Ford Escort that they drove around.
Oh, wow.
It was like a Ford Taurus.
It's a Ford
Oh,
Taurus.
it was a Ford
It's
Taurus.
a Ford Taurus. Oh, I'm so sorry.
What about that 6000 SUX? I
Yeah,
thought that
they
was
make
really
fun of the
funny.
Pontiac car.
The 6000 sucks.
They really talked about it too, because that one villain had that car, and then
Yep.
they blew it up with a rocket launcher or like a I don't know, like a bomb gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some sort of,
Whatever that thing was.
it's just some sort of super gun.
Super gun.
Super space gun.
Oh boy.
This movie was incredible.
This movie's great.
Yeah.
I forgot about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, Die Hard is on like the same level of what we've
Oh
seen.
yeah, well sure.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's fair. But yeah, I mean, it's a timeless movie already. But yeah, this rewatching it, I had not watched this in a long
This
time.
movie's the bomb.
I'm just like, everything about this movie, like especially the fake TV, which is what we expected, especially after we were talking about it on Starship Troopers. Like the show's like, I'd do that for $1, like all the time. Oh
using that,
my
like, satire.
gosh, it's so good.
Yeah, there's like a commercial for the Family Heart Association where you get a whole heart replacement.
Yep.
It's just like a piece of technology.
It's the running model, financing available.
I just liked right from the get-go. I saw that MGM logo and I saw that Orion logo, and that Orion logo always excites me. I don't know. There's movies that have that logo. I'm like, ooh, it's gonna be a good movie.
Oh hell yeah!
It's like the Geffen, like the old school Geffen logo.
Right.
Of the movie. It's like, ooh, this is gonna be good. It used to be New Line Cinema movies, and it's like, oh no, a New Line Cinema.
Yeah,
movie.
they tank.
Oh boy.
I used to feel like that for Lionsgate, and now I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I still
don't
get a little
know.
bit like that for legendary movies, but like,
Yep.
it's still not
Yeah,
quite there.
yeah.
Those like artsy production studios, they'll make some good ones, but then eventually they just seem to run out of steam or run out
Yeah.
of money. Things change, and it's just not as. The films they make are just not as good. But
Right.
this is like Orion in the '80s making great movies and actually like putting up money for movies
Oh,
that.
so much money.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like $100 million movie.
this movie only got made because Terminator was so successful.
Yeah. Yep.
It was really funny. I like reading about apparently they sort of marketed off of Terminator, and so a lot of people kind of went to see it expecting Terminator and were confused.
They got it in a way.
Yeah,
In
I
a
mean,
different way.
Funnier.
Yeah, it's a different. It's
not a horror
similar
film.
but different. It's kind of a weird way to describe it, but
I don't know. I thought there were elements of this movie that were horrifying.
They're over the top, though.
The scene where Murphy dies,
where he gets
I-
shot for like
I
an
had
hour.
so much anxiety.
Oh, man.
Like that scene like really kind of hit
whole-
me in a weird way.
Yeah, the whole them in the warehouse on it, like even when they, as soon as they went in the warehouse,
Yeah.
I was like, you're on the edge of your seat,
Don't
like,
go
oh
in here.
man, please don't go in that
Yeah.
warehouse.
When Clarence has the gun, he's just like,
He
he
blew off his hand with a
hand.
shotgun,
Yep.
and you see Peter Weller like literally in shock, like not knowing what just happened.
Yep.
Then they blow off his entire arm. I think like the
it just falls off.
it looked
like an action
so
figure.
real. Like everything about that scene looks so real, and it was kind of scary.
So there's a behind the scenes called Flesh and Steel, which I recommend everybody watching about RoboCop. And Paul Verhoeven talks about he wanted to do this movie because of that exact scene of seeing a hero like get killed in the first 25 minutes in such
Yeah.
an excruciating way. It's like, well, I've never seen a hero get his hand blown off before by a gun. I'm going to do this movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's what sold him
and that's
on
the
it.
thing.
And it
Like
works.
that doesn't happen in a movie where your main character dies 20 minutes in
I also think they did
just to become a different character.
they did a really good job of connecting the audience to Peter Weller before he dies. Like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
did not have a lot of movie to do that, but like as soon as he was like, oh, I just transferred in, I was like, I'm on board with this guy, and I'm ready to see his crazy adventures. And then he gets shot into tiny pieces, and you're like, what?
And there was already one of the cops on the force that had gotten murdered, and it's like this, cop killers are out there, and he's
Oh,
just
man.
how dispensable these guys are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who's the villain? What's his name again?
Which one? There's a couple. Clarence
The-
and Dick Jones are the characters.
Not Dick
names.
Jones, but Clarence.
Oh, right, yeah,
Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood Smith.
His character killed 33 police officers in this movie.
Is that what he said on his rap sheet, or is it just on screen?
On screen,
Oh,
that was a
wow.
part of the dialogue. He has killed 33 police officers.
That's
So when
that's a
RoboCop
lot.
does catch him and bring him in, he says that he's a cop killer. Like
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
"What's the charge?" He's a cop killer. He killed 33 police officers, including RoboCop, or maybe not including RoboCop.
Well, yeah. I mean, is he dead or alive? That's a story. I mean, his
that's
body's
a
gone.
It's an ethics question.
What's going on with his conscience?
Yeah. I jumping back to the scene where Murphy dies, it was too long. I felt like it was so horrifyingly long.
It was perfect.
I thought it was.
It was a good scene
Within
but
the context of this film, it was perfect. But I think if that scene was in any other movie, I would laugh it off because he's just standing there going ah while they're just blasting his limbs away.
Yeah, I mean, it did get like
for
kind
like
of
2
crazy.
minutes. Yeah, they're like really
should've
shooting
died.
him. He should have died.
And it was even more ridiculous that
Well, he
they
did
wheeled
die.
him. They wheeled him into a hospital and tried to revive
That
him.
was funny.
After he
It
gets like
was funny.
execution shot to the head,
and,
they're
and
like,
you're like, and that's the moment you're in Peter Weller's head. Like you feel his pain. You know what
Yeah.
he's going through. They're putting all those, and from the dialogue standpoint, it sounds like they're just like, just say whatever you would say if this was happening in real life, doctors. And then
Yeah, there
that's
was
what
a
I feel
real
like could
team of
happen.
doctors.
That- and
who-
yeah,
It felt like it.
it felt very, and like, I read that
It was
in the
all
trivia, that
ad-libbed.
it's a real trauma
Yep.
team doing what they would do, and I could tell, like when I'm watching that scene, it feels like exactly what you would hear like doctors who do this every day to
Yep.
be doing.
It was a funny scene because as they were trying to revive him, I was just like, why? This guy is going to have a horrible quality of life as soon as he wakes up, and you're trying to revive him? Like,
Oh,
he
boy.
he got murdered. He is dead.
We saved you, Murphy. You have like one
arm.
You have like half a limb. And that's
Yeah,
it.
20 bullets inside you.
yeah.
They were
Oh,
able to
man.
save his arm, but then
Then they removed it.
then Bob wanted it cut off.
I appreciate in this film. I had totally forgotten about this sort of competition between the two executives at OCP, and the idea that they made. I don't remember who's the actor that does who's in charge of RoboCop.
Miguel Ferreira.
Yes. Like, they make him almost like a sympathetic version of
Yeah,
like
but you
greedy
still,
corporate
like, you still
executive.
hate him a
he's
little bit.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
still like a
He's a
total
bad guy.
D-bag, but he's like the more sympathetic one. Like, he's like, oh, I have a better program. Like, I think RoboCop could be really good. At the same time, he's like snorting coke off of hookers' boobs and just being a D-bag. But at the same time, he's like the one you're like, oh,
There was no funeral scene, which we got wrong. Maybe that happens in the remake. No, like just got it confused.
I haven't seen the remake.
Yeah, nobody did.
I don't
Except
need to
me.
see the
I was the only
remake.
one who did.
I did, but I don't remember that much from it. I enjoyed it. I remember I enjoyed it, which no one else did.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
I also don't know if we got this, but Murphy actually transferred from another
Yeah.
precinct.
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
Andy just said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
well,
sorry.
none-
I was blanking out.
I don't know
looking
if we
at
said it
my
in part
notes.
one, but
No, right.
Yeah.
We didn't say it in part one.
yeah, the fact that he was new.
The new boy in school. Hey, I've just transferred in here. I'm gonna have a fun time, right?
Yeah.
And the grizzled sergeant like, we work here for a living, Murphy. Get suited up.
And there's a lot of character building.
Love that
Every
voice.
line is meant to build a character. When Murphy doesn't let Lewis like drive the car, that's a character building.
Yeah,
thing.
no,
You know what's
like I
going
said,
on.
they create a full-fledged Murphy
Quickly,
character
too. They have to do
within
it
the
fast.
first 10 minutes,
when
and
Lewis
they do a good
beats the
job.
shit out of that punk that's in like the precinct, like no one else can handle him.
Oh,
and she
man.
just whips his ass.
Takes him out.
I did also write down, though, based on that scene, I was like, that scene kind of feels awfully different in 2017.
In what way?
In the way of police brutality towards
Oh.
people. And
Well, I mean, it's New Detroit.
Yeah,
although he was fighting back and he was fighting off 6 officers, which
yeah, he
seems
did
also
like
kinda
punch 2 of them
strange.
down, and it was a big deal. I also like I said, there's just a lot of subtle character building. I really enjoy watching kind of the background transformation of all the cops that work in the department towards RoboCop. Like when he first comes in, they're all like, "What the heck is with this guy?"
Yeah, there are some great ADR lines where, like, he came into the precinct and the first line that an extra said is, "Are we going to lose our jobs?" I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
You wanted to go on strike anyway, sir.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
did we even get the
No.
fact that they went on strike?
No, they weren't. Yeah, they were
That
protesting.
was
That
like
wasn't
a
even a-
plot line that just fizzled out.
Yeah, it just happened.
It was sort of in the background. I guess it was sort of just supposed
takes-
to imply how rough the job is, and at
in the
same
second
time,
movie,
the idea
they
that-
are on strike. It starts with them being
Oh,
on
okay.
strike. So I don't know if that's like a carryover.
Yes.
or-
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if it was supposed to just be reflecting the condition of Detroit, or it was supposed to be reflecting the idea of a corporation running a police department was miserable. It may have been, maybe it was both, but
it was all about just like privatizing the police force
Yeah.
and
'cause
how
it's
they're
not
not
like
going to serve
they're
the
all
public interest.
They're all like miserable.
So
at
the
their
main
jobs.
bad guy wants to turn Detroit into something called like the Delta Skyline. Is that what it was called?
I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly, but it sounds
Yeah.
vaguely
And
familiar.
Apparently, that's something that he was going to do by instituting Ed 209. How is the bad guy? What's going on?
I don't know. Like it was originally just the idea that like the only reason they were doing the Ed 209 project for the police was to eventually sell it to the military,
Right.
Which maybe then would make them the money to be able to do the Delta project. I don't know. Like
Okay.
Dick Jones' plan was just not there. He just, I don't
Yeah.
know what he wanted to do. He wanted to make the Ed 209s. They were big and bulky.
Yeah, and the
Like,
guy
they're
does
not
end a lot
fast.
earlier in the movie than I remembered.
Yeah.
I missed that a bit, but it got he he doesn't get shot out the window too. He falls through the plans.
Yeah, he falls through
So
like the little model.
skyline plan.
The thing about this movie is everything just looks so real. All of those squibs that were
Oh, the
exploding,
squibs are incredible.
They explode like these massive like blowouts of this guy's chest. It
Yep.
looks so effective.
Well, and, like, when-
and not to sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No, you're
but
good.
not only that, like the whole movie seems to be shot like it's almost like a documentary in a way. It looks so like real and gritty and like fast-paced camera movements.
You
kinda
feel like you're
jerky.
there, and even like I said, the scene where Murphy gets killed, like when you see his hand get blown off.
Oh my God,
it
that's
feels real. Like
horrifying.
this is an '80s
Yeah.
film, and I wouldn't expect the effects of all these gunshots. I expect Rambo or something like that. It felt real. It felt really good.
There's a subtle amount of grain on at least in the movie that I saw.
Yes.
And it's like, whoa, this really like adds the realism to it too. It feels
Exactly.
gritty.
Yep.
This is
And
a
I think
gritty
that
place.
made me a little bit more horrified when we were seeing like certain people die.
Right.
certain like lighting choices too, and the movie is awesome.
Yeah.
They had to light
Very crazy
RoboCop
production.
differently because of him being metal and reflecting light. So they had to light him like a car.
In the documentary, they said though no matter how they put the lights on him, like he'd always shine and look really cool though. Either like silhouetted on the
yeah.
side. Like,
Yeah, I bet.
they'd always find a sweet spot to shoot a RoboCop, because the costume is just so BA.
The theme song is fantastic.
I was
Oh,
trying to
man.
sing it on the end of part one.
You were
No one
singing
recognized it.
I didn't recognize it until I heard it in the movie.
No, rewatching it, I was
He's
like,
riding around in the cop car. That song's playing. He's just working the beat. Just a cop doing a jab.
Oh my God, it was so good. The one scene where that really got me into RoboCop is when he stops the lady from getting raped by the two guys.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes up and he fucking like shoots
Shoots
that
the-
guy right in the gonads.
right in the dick.
Damn.
And RoboCop turns to the lady as she says thank you, and he's like, he's like,
You
Getting
have
shot.
suffered a trauma.
you have suffered a trauma. I will contact the local I don't
Rape
know, like,
crisis
rape
unit,
crisis.
yeah.
I was like, damn, RoboCop, that was the right thing to say.
You're the man, RoboCop.
It was. I was like, oh man, RoboCop, you're a good guy.
I actually didn't know. Like that specifically jumped out. Like I was like, that's just the appropriate response. Like
It was definitely like a pet the cat type moment
It was
where it's
really
like the main character doing a good thing and you're like, I'm on his side.
Yeah.
Because they kind of have to now that it's like, he's a robot.
Yeah.
He's no
Yeah.
longer a human being.
and you're worried that he might be just a tool of the corporation, but he really is doing a good job. Like that's why I like seeing how the cops are all skeptical at him first, but like then at the end, like when they're in the parking garage and the SWAT guys who are totally separate are just like, we have orders to destroy him, and all the other cops are like, hey, he's a cop too, don't kill him. And I was like, oh, they're on his side now too. They all like
Oh my
him.
God, they all blasted him to pieces.
They did though.
RoboCop needs like a paddy wagon to be following him though, because he's like arresting criminals like
He arrests
nonstop.
so many.
There's no way he has room in his car,
Right.
for all these people that he's arresting. Where are they going?
He kills most of them. Problem solved. I thought the one scene that felt kind of funny to me was the drug lab scene, where like the bad guy's meeting with this other bad guy who like actually runs the manufacturing, and they're trying to cut a deal. And
They just need some bodies for RoboCop to shoot through.
it just felt like an establishing scene, and all of a sudden they're like, nope, this is a major, like, we're progressing through this. Now RoboCop's at the drug lab. I thought it was going to be like a setting up the operation, and then a few scenes later, RoboCop was going to disturb the operation. But no, it was like, we're about to set it up, and it's already broken because RoboCop found it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Which was
He-
good. I liked it.
He has no
but
fear. He just
it was
jumps
really
right into
good.
a situation.
right?
Yeah, it just happened really fast, and I appreciated it. It was the movie. It never leaves you wandering. Like it's always moving.
Well, this
and it's always
movie is
developing.
always quicking. Sorry, it's always moving forward, and it's quick, and it's
Yeah.
like always getting your attention in every scene.
There's so many scenes. There's so many shots. There's so many cuts. There's so many.
And every
things
transition
happening.
where you get to the
Great.
transition to like the news show and the commercials in between the news show.
Some of that felt a little clunky at the beginning, I'd say.
I think it's funny because the movie starts with that stuff, so it jumps you into that, and then they kind of have to explain later why it is the way it is. So
Well,
I think
all
right at first
everything in the
it's
news
kinda weird.
reports like shows you how terrible the world is.
And they're always,
Yeah.
but
They're
they're
so
always
nonchalant
like,
about what's
yeah,
going
like
on.
nonchalant and smiling.
Two U.S. presidents
Yeah,
passed away.
got
In other
shot
news.
by a satellite. 2 U.S. presidents got murdered by a satellite
Oh, like when
in
they're talking
San
about-
Diego.
Oh, right after RoboCop starts, like, it was great, and like RoboCop solved the crime. Oh, isn't that funny? 13 people died today. Like they're just like still smiling.
Moving
and
on.
it's-
My
Get that news out
favorite,
there.
my
Oh.
favorite newsreel part was when they were talking about the cop killer right in the very beginning. They were setting up the villain.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a cop killer out there. He shot a cop named Frank. And the newscaster goes, what does he say? He says, he's like, good luck, Frank. It's like Frank is like dying.
Yeah. He's in the hospital. He wants he's recovering in the hospital.
The way he delivered that line, I was like, I have to write that down. It was too good. Good luck, Frank.
And Frank doesn't make it. They pull his name off of the locker.
It's true.
Damn.
It's got real.
Frank.
It was sad.
I guess I didn't
There
make
are-
that connection.
Yeah, there's stakes now. Anybody can die, including Murphy.
And Frank.
I thought one of the scenes that was kind of funny to me is
The hostage scene.
Yes.
That's
We
amazing.
forgot
Yes.
about that part.
He was
hospital scene is
negotiating
amazing.
for some really bad
that
things.
was so
It
funny.
was great. It was so good.
We'll get you anything you want.
I love when he's like, and I want a really fancy car that goes fast and gets terrible gas mileage.
Yeah, it was so
fun.
good.
It was really funny.
And the ad for that car shows it as 8.2 miles per gallon. If you notice it later in the
God,
movie.
that's real bad. That's like the worst.
No, but I do like the scene where RoboCop has this dream, with his first dream, where he starts going nuts while he's in his little charging station.
That's like the moment that he becomes aware that
Yes,
he
that
was a human.
But he busts up and busts out of the cage and starts walking down the hall. Everyone's freaking out, and then Lewis stops him in the hall and is just sort of like, "Do you remember me? Like, what's your name?"
Yeah.
And they immediately place all the blame on her because she happened to stop
Yeah.
him in the hall. Like,
Yeah, you gotta
they're
put-
like, "What did you say to him?" And I'm like, "He was going nuts before she talked to him. You got to be asking what happened."
That's a bunch
first.
of corporate BS, though.
Yeah,
They're trying
it
to
is.
cover
was.
themselves.
They pinned it all on her, and I was like, "Oh, big corporations,
Yeah.
am I right?"
But the mean police officer, chief guy, has her back.
Yeah,
It's like,
he
don't
did.
worry about it. That guy's an asshole.
Oh man,
Thanks, chief.
Yeah, so I think the movie's more just about RoboCop becoming aware of the fact that he used to be Murphy and kind of resolving that crime.
Yeah.
As soon
Yeah.
as he
No, for sure.
becomes in existence as a thing, it's kind of cool that the first crime that he wants to solve
Is his own
is his
murder.
own murder.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That just makes sense. You would just do that.
right?
as
Yeah,
a
you'd be like,
robot.
"Look, step one, let's finish the whole I got killed thing."
And he doesn't give up.
No.
And it doesn't even explore his family really
Yeah,
in
they
this
just
movie.
goes through the house.
Yeah, they do a
Punches
lot
that
more.
TV set.
They do a lot more with the family in the remake from 2014.
Yeah, which is a mistake. Because
I don't know, it kind of worked.
because he doesn't need that. That's not the main.
But I
does
think you're right.
detract
It
from
does.
the-
Detracts from what's
It
going
does take
on.
away from what the main part of the movie. I think it adds a whole nother line to the movie that didn't need to be there.
Although I was kind of confused why they kept showing the scene. Well, they only showed it twice, but the scene where his wife in a dream
I have
comes up
something
to
to
him and
tell
says,
you.
"I have something
It's
to
a
tell
memory.
you."
Those aren't dreams. Those are memories.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I didn't. I
That was.
I guess that was just
kind
like
of
a
weird bit.
reminder that he has a family and that he is a human.
Well, he sees that right
As
before he dies the first time. It's like his life flashes before his eyes, and he starts to remember all that stuff. And then later, when as
I
RoboCop,
did
he
want to
remembers all this stuff,
criticize the realtor trying to sell his old house because there was a bunch of burned up and
Yeah,
dead
what was that
flowers in
about?
there.
There's
and
a
I'm
broken coffee
I'm like,
cup.
look, if you're trying to sell this house, you need to clean it up, make it look nice. What are you doing?
I think it's kind of neat to be in the future. You just walk into a house that's for sale. You don't have
Right.
to deal with anybody. Just talk to that thing.
The robot, they're
Yeah.
like, hey, you like this house?
You just, could I sign you up for it at the end? And he just punches right through that. No.
No thanks.
I don't know if I'm pulling this from a different episode or something like that, but I thought you had said that the villain in Basketball was in this movie.
No, the villain from Blank Check.
Right, you did say that.
Yes.
Cut this out.
Leaving it in!
No!
I do the editing.
I thought it was Robert Vaughn that you were talking about,
Oh, no.
but then I saw Ray Weiss,
Ray
and I was
Weiss,
like,
yeah.
Ray Weiss looks like Robert Vaughn.
I
Maybe
mentioned
that's
him
what
in the-
Brad was talking about.
Yeah.
But
He was
you
in the
did
first
talk
one.
about Miguel Ferreira.
Yeah. It is kind of funny, the conflict between the two executives as being its own thing. And you do find yourself
There's that
kinda
really weird scene where he's
sympathizing.
Pissing
In the bathroom.
and then the other guy's taking a shit, and he's bad talking him.
Everyone's running out of there oh, shit.
Dick Jones is a pussy, and then Dick Jones comes out of there, and it's a real awkward scene. And he,
That guy pissed on himself, too.
He's
yeah,
like, yeah, I'll
he wanted
finish
to
this
get the hell
later.
out of there.
I'll finish my pee another time.
And then, like, they go straight to, like, he's like, I'm going to hire a guy to go kill him in his house.
Yeah, that happened.
like, oh,
I forgot
boy.
about the grenade. Like him
Yeah.
reaching towards it and just being out of fingertips reach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like falling over.
I wasn't sure if that was a grenade or a bomb because, like, that's such a big explosion for a grenade.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's
the
a future
future
grenade.
tech. Yeah,
Yeah,
OCP
that's
makes
true.
good grenades, you know?
They're not going to put their name on a shoddy grenade.
Yeah, gosh,
That's
no.
true.
They built
That's
those
true.
super guns that destroy anything.
I thought that was such a weird plot line. Like, what do the police think when they let Kurtwood Smith and all of his henchmen out of jail, and then also they immediately got like a bunch of giant bazooka guns that they blew up an entire street. They blew up an entire street just testing them.
I think it's funny that right from the beginning they're like, here is this really bad guy.
He like walks in like public view, like he goes in that
Yeah.
office to see Dick Jones.
Or
like,
even
oh,
when-
we're expected you. It's like you expected this guy. Like everyone just knows that you're in cahoots with this villain.
They're like,
Yeah,
he's
this
a
cop
wanted
killer.
man. And then, even when Robocop arrests him the first time, it throws him in the station. They're like, book him. They're like, what for? And I'm like, everyone should know who that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
All
guy
those
is
people.
on the news, and you are police.
You should know that this is a guy that
Yeah.
kills cops.
Even like Murphy knows that when he comes out of the shadow, and it's like, oh, it's this guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess he watches the news.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Look at his face. He looks like an asshole.
He like walks around with impunity. It's sort of a minor thing, but the machine they had filling those vials with that powder drug,
It was spilling.
it was spilling,
spilling.
all over.
I rationalized it in my head that they had a basin underneath that they collected the extra.
I hope they did, because
And
that's a
they-
lot of waste otherwise,
Right.
and that's just poor business practice. There's got to be a better way, right, Brad?
Well, here's the better way situation. Where do I have this written down? I think it was.
I know Brad likes to talk about the economics of villain activities in
Yeah.
movies, so
Brad's working up to be his own villain.
Was it killing RoboCop? Yeah, I think it might have just been like
I
killing.
mean that
RoboCop.
is a good business strategy. Kill RoboCop.
Yeah. So we missed the scene where we kind of mixed up what was going on. So RoboCop goes into Dick Jones's office. He can't arrest him. He gets in a fight with the Ed 209.
Yep.
And that's when the Ed 209 falls down the stairs, and that's like the big
and
moment in the
acted
movie.
like a toddler when it fell down to the bottom of the stairs. It
so
like started
bad.
like
Poor baby.
whining.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't get up.
They were so mad about that.
And then RoboCop goes into like the bottom of the parking garage, and he's surrounded by police officers, and that's when like some of them won't shoot him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's when I'm thinking, this is how you want to kill RoboCop with guns? You built him to withstand bullets.
Yeah.
Power
What are
him
you
down.
thinking?
Right?
They could just power him down.
They need like
Yeah.
a remote off button. That's really
Just wait for him to go back to recharge or whatever, and you get him then. I mean, it's not you're not shooting him isn't going to accomplish anything. He's built to withstand bullets. What are you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing? There's got to be
choices.
a better way to
There's
kill
gotta
RoboCop.
be a better way.
Did we get the part where RoboCop went to the club? He went to the
I
club.
no,
get-
I don't
to
think
get
we
Ray
mentioned that
Wise.
at all.
Yeah,
That
to get
club,
Ray Weiss.
That club is bumping. There's like
man.
there's like naked ladies in there
Yep.
and a bunch of punkers.
And they were not going to let RoboCop's presence bring them down. They were having a party. They were like, "Oh, it's RoboCop, whatever."
that place was jamming. It was packed.
I read in the trivia that Peter Weller said that was the hardest scene for him to shoot in the RoboCop outfit.
Yeah, it's a lot of movement.
He had to walk down those stairs, but also he couldn't look where he was walking.
Oh man.
But he said he got it in 3 takes, but he was very worried about
Falling over, yeah.
in all of that $500,000 RoboCop outfit.
Yeah, he said it was $1 million in an interview I saw. They also got it.
They had like 8 of them or 11 of them or something like that.
It arrived the first day of production, and he hadn't had time to be in the costume. And I guess he'd been doing a bunch of like mime work, and
Yeah.
all of it he could not do in the costume. So he had to like
they had to
improvise
take
a lot of different
3
things.
whole weeks off so he can figure out how to move in the outfit.
Yeah.
Well,
But Paul Verhoeven is like talks about being mad at him for doing that, and
Yep.
like in retrospectively, he's like, "Oh, it's actually I should have just been fine with it," because Peter Weller's just an actor that needs time to do this thing.
Right. In the trivia, it implied that after they started shooting and he was in the outfit, there was a couple days where like Peter Weller started complaining about the outfit, and they immediately started looking for a new
yeah, they were
actor
just going to straight up replace him. Yeah.
Yeah, but they had already. There was no way they were going to do that. They
Yeah,
built.
why would you?
They built that costume like specifically for him. He talks about how like the cast were like months in advance, and nobody else can physically wear that costume at all.
Yeah.
right.
but it's
it was
gotta-
shaped for him.
But it's miserable to be in that costume.
Oh, it's
I
gotta
mean,
be, yeah.
it's 40 pounds. It doesn't breathe.
Yep.
You have to physically like move so often and do active things in it. It's a lot of exterior shots, so there's no air conditioning. And he was just sweating bullets the whole time. He said he just lost like 3 pounds of water every day.
Yep.
He always have to keep hydrated. That poor guy.
It's good. It's a new
They
workout.
also couldn't get RoboCop in any car. So every shot of RoboCop is him leaving the car or him sitting down into the seat.
I did ask it part one. I don't know how that car supports his weight in the first place.
He doesn't get that motorcycle that you wanted him to get.
No, that's
Doesn't
that's
happen.
the remake.
That'd be sweet though.
Yeah.
The remake,
Maybe
he's got
there's some toys out
rad
there. Maybe your
motorcycle.
like little kid brain thought of.
Yeah, it could be.
The
too,
RoboCop
but
toys are really.
I know
sweet.
he definitely has. He's got a motorcycle in the 2014 version, which I have seen. So
Do kids' toys come with guns anymore? They probably don't,
I
right?
bet they
I have
do.
to believe they
I bet
do.
there's
You think they
Walking
do?
Dead toys with guns.
Is that a kid's
Probably.
toy?
oh my,
Hell yeah.
in Andy's house.
Hell yeah.
Talking like G.I. Joes or like I don't know.
They're just G.I. Joes with
I
parachutes
guess Star
in their
Wars
hand.
toys come with blasters. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know, GI Joes now come with like pens and paper. They're like, I just work a desk. I don't actually fight you. I sign out requisition forms. GI Joe.
He's the real American hero.
In the ending, they eventually have Peter Weller take off his RoboCop mask. Mm-hmm. And I think that was like a very important moment in the movie. Because then you get to see Peter Weller again.
Yeah, I think it helps.
It felt so right. Like,
Yeah.
it had to happen at that moment.
And it's that scene where it's like connecting with Lewis, or like seeing, it's the Beauty and the Beast scene where it's like I love looking at you. You're not that
That's after she
hideous."
rescues him from the parking garage, right?
Tale as old as time. RoboCop is fine.
RoboCop and Lewis. But it had to happen. He had to take that mask off because now it's like you're getting more of him being a human again. He's jumping back into getting revenge on these guys. I don't know. I just thought it was like a cool moment.
Then the makeup is insane.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Oh, it does you can't tell where his what
Nope.
his real skin is.
It's all bonkers.
You don't know where it is. Like spread across like the back of his helmet and oh man.
It looks really real, and I think it does help connect to throughout the movie. You see Murphy in the beginning. Throughout the movie, you see him in the RoboCop, and I think you almost start to get a disassociation. Like you're still following the Murphy story, but you're only seeing the jaw. And I think that really helps bring it back that he's
it makes
Murphy
you
again.
care for him
Yeah.
even more.
Well, there's that part where he's fighting the Ed 209 and he falls down the stairs and his helmet's cracked and he looks up and you can see his eye. And it's like, oh my, he's human.
Yeah.
He was a real guy after all. Oh man.
I just want to be real boy.
And Peter Weller does such an amazing job. Like every single movement he's doing is incredible.
I like
He
him.
based it off a bird.
He looks
Bird
so
movements.
robotic.
Yep.
Yep.
He moves. All those joints kind of move like sort of separately, but very much. Like
that's
the
what's
way
missing- that was
the
missing in the
shoulders and the
remake
head
really bad,
movements
too.
are like the way he moves his shoulders and the head are like the best.
That's it,
His
yeah.
shoulders
Yep.
always
Yep.
go first,
He's a
and then his
bird.
head follows.
That was exactly what I was about to
Oh,
say.
man.
Like that is the key right there.
Yeah.
Even in shots where it's a giant, like wide shot, you
Yep.
get like multiple guys in the scene at the very end, like multiple guys in the scene, cars in the scene. They're shooting rockets at him, and he's still robotically
Yep.
moving away from these, like
Yeah.
methodically. It's so good.
When he's breaking up that drug bust, he's like shooting. He's like holding his body like perfect angles. Like
Yeah.
this is how a robot would like move its form. It would be with the like. There's no
wasted movement.
wasted movement.
Yep.
Everything is very
You just
deliberate.
pivot to each new guy with the gun and blast him.
Yeah, so sweet.
This is Peter Weller's big movie.
I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I like him in everything he's in. He's a really good in general. Like I feel bad because I always call him like a discount Ed Harris when I see him, but he's
Aw.
not a discount at all. He is amazing.
The scene, the other scene that really got me was the scene where the bald villain with the weird facial hair drove a van into a bunch of toxic waste.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh
And he
man.
becomes
That
a
scene
mutant
was
toy.
horrifying to me.
Yep. I remember
I
when I
was
watched
like-
that as a kid. I was like,
Yeah. And he like grabs onto Ray Weiss, and Ray Weiss is
yeah,
like,
he's like,
freaking-
oh Jesus.
yeah, Ray Weiss is like, "Don't touch me!"
Oh my god.
Runs away.
We talked about that in part one, and that is, oh man, that's one of the most memorable scenes in this movie for me. Is just like I remember as a
it's
kid.
memorable.
He splatters all over the windshield.
As a kid, I watched Murphy get shot for 2 minutes, and I was like, yeah, And then, but I saw that guy get mutated. I was like, oh my god, no.
That guy made a
He's, like,
huge
melted.
mistake.
Such an iconic scene in the movie. Too. It's like what you think of.
He runs into a giant vat of toxic waste and then gets blown out of the back of his van, and he's just like covered in this stuff, and he's like trying to crawl out of it. The scene like feels like it takes like a whole minute or 2 minutes of watching him like in agony. And I was just like, oh, don't show this anymore. Please cut away.
Yeah.
I mean, I get he's a bad guy, but I was just like, please don't show that much of this. Like, I can't take it.
Yeah.
So there's no magnet. There's no big magnet. That's in Robocop 2, I guess.
Yeah. I forgot we mentioned that, but
I thought that was a magnet, though, when they drop all that debris.
So Kurtwood Smith shoots Lewis. She like falls down, and Ray Weiss is like sneaking around to get the best like behind Robocop.
Yeah, this is not like the big final.
The very
fight.
end of the movie, and he drops a bunch of like steel beams and stuff onto him.
Yeah,
and then he's like celebrating, and then Lewis gets one of those super guns and just blows that whole thing to hell.
Yeah,
like Ray Weiss was so happy this a moment
he
ago.
Immediately just
And then
blew right up.
Yep,
just evaporated.
It was really good.
But then Kurtwood Smith does a really dumb thing. Like he
goes over to
he's not done, and he wants to go over and kill RoboCop.
Yeah,
which
and RoboCop's blocks on that spear
3 times.
are so sweet.
Oh my god, I was just like, yeah, he's just gonna keep blocking. So
Yeah.
Kurtwood Smith, being a smart guy, I guess, decides to spear it into him.
Yeah.
But his mistake was that he got cocky and he got too close to him.
RoboCop had that secret knife.
Yep.
Yeah,
Stabbed
secret
him.
USB knife.
Yeah,
that's right.
sword.
Data storage in the future will be very deadly.
Exactly.
And erotic. He jams it in there.
Oh yeah.
Does a little twist. Ooh.
My other favorite ADR line was when he was back at the police station. He used that for the first time, and everyone was like, "No, you can't come in here. You can't come in here." And he just like pushed everyone out of the way and shoved that thing inside there. You hear someone in the background go, "He's in."
I missed that.
But right
It was so good.
Right before that,
man.
when they're like harassing him, it's like a middle finger. Like it pops up.
Yeah.
Like, F you.
That
I can
was
do
really
what I
good.
want. I'm Robocop, baby.
I think overall, like, this movie feels like an exploitation movie that had fantastic funding, a little bit more of a substance in the storyline, and like great directing and great acting.
Yeah, I think you're
But
exactly
really,
right.
it's just an exploitation movie. It's just
Yeah.
ton of violence, one character just going off
Kind
on
of
a revenge
insane.
spree.
Yeah, just this insane, over the top kind of everything. But yeah, it's all so well done that
Yeah.
it becomes like just
So
a really
competently
solid
made.
movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can make an exploitation movie into something so much more than just
yeah.
like violence. Like there's a ton of substance to this movie.
My favorite line of the movie is when Peter Weller's underneath those iron beams at the end, and Lewis says that she's hurt, and then RoboCop
Yes.
says in like a regular voice, like Peter Weller's voice, "They'll fix you.
They always do.
They'll fix anything.
Oh yeah,
They'll fix everything."
Murphy, I'm a mess.
They'll fix you. They fixed everything.
Oh boy.
That was a great line. That
Yeah,
was such
that is
a
really good.
fantastic
It's when he
moment.
drops like the RoboCop voice, and he's just like, "I'm Peter Weller saying a line."
He just did such a nailed, like, bang on job as RoboCop. It's just really good.
Yeah, recasting him in the third one, man. I wonder what a RoboCop 3 would have been like with Peter Weller in it. If it would have been watchable or not.
So it's a question. I don't know.
I mean, he shoots back up for RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
He's like, "I want that paycheck."
Hell yeah.
And then he says it's worth it. Maybe he could improve the suit in the second one, or I don't know. He's definitely wearing the mask a lot less. There's a RoboCop TV show, Prime Directive. Did you watch that?
I did.
Did you watch the cartoon at all? I remember the cartoon
saw
in the
the
late
cartoon.
80s.
I
Yeah.
don't remember these
He's
things.
still like beating up punks and like shooting people, and he still has like a tragic backstory. But it's a kid's cartoon. Like, these things are confusing.
Kids don't really pay attention to that stuff sometimes.
Oh man.
The last thing I want to say is when Dick Jones,
Dick Jones! I work for Dick Jones!
when he falls out of that window.
Oh no! the one place they decide not to spend any money.
Yep.
The one place.
His arms
Oh,
were
my
double
Lord.
the length I was like, how are his arms that long?
His face is like a crumpled up mess. Like it looks like someone smushed a puppet's head and like stretched its arms out. It is so bad.
Like, it's like
it
the
is
last
the
thing in this
worst.
movie, and I forgot about it until you mentioned it just now.
Oh
And it's
no! I
it's
paused to
so
look at it. I was like, I
funny.
gotta see what this. This doesn't even
was-
look close.
Everything about it felt wrong.
Oh my gosh.
He was so disproportionately like made up, and I don't know how. Like, why didn't they just have someone fall through a green
Yeah.
screen or something like that?
Just do Die Hard style, yeah.
Die Hard did it right.
Yep.
He was like a claymation figure falling
was-
down in stop motion.
It was so bad.
Oh boy.
Oh. What? Like, dude, doing a plastic mold of like him and dropping it of a green screen like would have been better than whatever this thing was. What is this thing? It doesn't look like anything.
I don't know what that
It's
was.
some sort of hideous monster falling from the sky.
It was awful. It was so bad.
Oh man.
Just don't cut that scene out. You can just not have. You can just have him go out the window, and then RoboCop looks down and he's splattered on the ground.
Yeah, you
That'd have been
didn't need to
fine.
see him falling out the window.
Ugh.
I did read in the trivia that they were over budget and over time, and so maybe that part suffered in some way from them being over budget.
It
Yep.
could be.
They ran over budget. The shoot was a lot longer. It was a miserable experience, from what I hear.
Yeah.
and it was very hard because everything's practical. Like you're working on the set.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was I don't remember specifically, but there was something in the trivia where they talked about how they shot for an entire day just to get RoboCop to catch the keys in his hand.
When he
They
tosses them,
shot
yeah.
for an entire day just to get the right shot, and I was like, that is a waste of a day.
I did read
it. It was a
that.
dope shot though.
Oh, it's totally good. He just snatches those up. He's like, got it.
Ready to go.
It's one of those small things where you're like, it never would have occurred to me that would be a hard take to get. And then you're reading that it just like takes an entire day of production to nail that. You're like,
Yeah, just think how much money they
like-
spent on that shot alone. Millions.
Yeah.
Or hundreds of thousands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
yeah. You spend a lot of money making these movies like this.
Yeah.
But
That's
apparent-
also one of the reasons it was so good too. Is they,
Yeah.
they
Yeah, I
dumped
think-
the
yeah.
money into it. Kept dumping it.
But apparently the director is super smart because they knew they were over budget and over time, and so they decided to not shoot one critical scene before they went to talk to the executives. And that was the scene where Murphy dies.
I mean, if you're gonna hold off on you're like, oh, we're out of money, but the one scene that we absolutely have to have right here is not done.
Yep.
The lighting and it definitely took place over hours of time because the lighting drastically changes in that scene.
Where he gets shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they were given a
throughout the
ton
scene.
more money after they saw the movie and they were just like, shoot the scene. So they probably went overboard on that scene, which is probably why it
That's
feels
probably why
so
it's so
violent.
long. Yeah, and yeah, visceral. All the squibs. So just give me all of them.
There's a lot of squibs in this movie.
Oh, a ton.
Because RoboCop's gun has like the auto fire, so they had to rig up 3 squibs for every one normal bullet squib, just because of, like the auto fire. Like they wanted to keep it as real as possible when the squibs went off.
Yep.
So when he shot, he hit 3 times, like with every shot instead of the one time. So 3 squibs to every 1 squib.
Right.
That gun was fake too. It was like they had to add extra things on it because it looked so small in RoboCop's
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, oh, the Desert Eagle that they run around with in the beginning, like when they have the one guy like pick up a gun, threaten the robot. Like that was originally supposed to be his gun, which is Desert Eagle, which is a huge gun on its own. But yeah, when they're like, oh, it still looked too small.
Yeah, Peter Weller said in an interview
And
that they
they're-
had to get through like customs and like they had to approve that gun.
Well, it's
So there's only
yeah, it's
3
it's
in
a.
the
I mentioned
made
that. I
in the
think I
world or
mentioned in
whatever.
part one. It's Bred in 93R, which is a fully
Automatic.
automatic
Fully
handgun.
automatic
I don't know if
pistol.
it's burst or fully, but it's based. It's a gun that's very tightly controlled because it is much more powerful than a regular pistol. I could see that causing some problems if you're trying to move around and shoot in different places.
Shot it all in Dallas. They did some test shots in Detroit, but they didn't like the skyline.
Oh my god, that really frustrated me. The entire
Yeah.
movie was shot in Dallas.
Yep.
And they only had one scene that was shot in Detroit, and it was stock footage, apparently.
Oh yeah, at the beginning, like
Yeah.
the very opening scene.
I was like, you can't just shoot one sequence there, or have like
They
a
didn't like
building that's in Detroit. Like all these, there was a building for the OCP, and it was very odd shaped, and I was like, where is that exactly? I mean, obviously this movie's shot
Yeah.
in the
I'm
future.
sure, I'm sure tons of people feel like this when.
It was a matte painting.
Yeah.
I was like, I bet a lot of people feel like this when they're, it's set in my city, and then it's Vancouver again. Again.
Right.
Yeah, it was for us. I know the remake was shot mostly in Detroit because that's back when they had the film credits going nuts. So
Yeah.
I was like, that's one of those things where you can see all the landmarks, and you're like, oh, okay, it feels like it's here where we are. So
He just needed to be Peter Weller in that movie.
Oh my God, yeah.
He was just a dude in a cop costume, like a Robocop costume.
Yeah.
He wasn't like robotic at all.
Yeah,
or-
it was like
that poor remake.
less
it was
Robo.
like a Daft Punk Robocop where you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's a guy under there. I get it. He's just a guy in a
Right.
motorcycle helmet or something.
And Michael Keaton's doing stuff.
Is Michael Keaton in the Robocop?
He's the villain.
He's like the main bad guy. Yeah, he runs OCP.
Oh, okay. I might check it out, but I
I
also
guess
might just rewatch RoboCop.
Just
the
watch-
original.
just rewatch this
I
movie.
enjoyed the new one, but I know a lot of people didn't, so I'm not going to recommend it to anybody.
It's got a lot of problems.
It
And-
does.
And like when you're watching, it's like, oh, I should have been watching the original.
Yeah, I could see that absolutely
man.
being a real thing anyone would say because it's true. It's true.
I was trying to think of a movie remake that launched a franchise, and I couldn't think of one. Because they just
movie remake?
Yeah, because they just come and die.
Yeah.
Like, oh, a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Oh, a Friday the 13th movie. Oh,
There was like
a RoboCop
Halloween. They
movie.
made 1 and 2 remakes,
Ha-
but
Halloween,
that
I
didn't
guess,
really
like kind
go
of took
very
off
far
a little
past
bit.
that.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre was pretty like well received, but didn't like start a
But,
franchise.
but I will say Texas Chainsaw Massacre has had numerous reboots throughout the last 30 years.
Exorcist kept on trying to get rebooted. That always failed.
Yep.
They make money. I'm not saying that, but I'm like, which one's like,
Pick back up.
usurped? Is that the right word? Usurped, like
usurped?
Yeah, usurped the original.
Trying to think of anything. Amityville is all like one long thing. I don't think that's any of those count as a remake. So
Yeah.
I feel like too, if it's gonna usurp something, it has to be a movie that wasn't very good initially, and then like they remake it and
Yeah, it's
or like
why are they remaking Big
series.
Trouble in Little China? Why are they remaking
Please
these
don't.
movies that like
yeah.
everyone
Don't.
wants to? Don't make movies people love. Just like try to do something that had a little bit of a failure to it. Remake a Phantasm movie for all I care. It's
remake
like,
Blank Check. We already explained exactly how to do it. in
checks
our
don't
podcast.
exist in 2017. we'd have to figure out.
People be like,
something
"What
else.
is a check?"
I saw someone in
And
the
why is it
supermarket using
blank?
a chat recently.
You saw someone in the supermarket use a check.
Yeah, it was so
Were
frustrating.
they like?
Oh,
87?
you stuck behind them, and you're like,
Yeah, it was like a 80-year-old woman.
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna pay with the check and pennies. You're like, get out of my line.
oh man,
RoboCop's so good.
Fantastic movie.
It is.
Go watch it.
If you haven't seen it already,
and if you have seen it,
If
go
you
watch it
have,
again right now.
Definitely go see it again.
yeah, he's iconic. He's up there.
I thought I was going to be kind of bored rewatching this because I'm like, yeah, it's RoboCop. You've seen it enough times. I loved every minute of rewatching this film. It's so good, and I would absolutely watch it again tomorrow. And I just watched it today.
I want to watch the sequels, even though I know they're going to be real bad. That's how much I loved this movie.
Yep.
It's dated a little bit, but it doesn't feel like it's like overly dated.
No, it is
In
a
any
movie
way.
that I think can still work no matter like Die Hard. It can move. Like I said, I think Brad mentioned it's like Die Hard caliber kind of in the beginning, where it's a movie you can watch anytime, and it's like, sure, you can be like, wow, this is an '80s film, but it doesn't make me not like the film in any way.
Yeah. The pace of it. I mean, it's just
Oh,
moving.
yeah.
It's cranking.
And you get caught up in it, and you're going.
Paul Verhoeven.
Uh-huh.
That's the director. He's Dutch, and this was his first American movie, I think is
Yep.
what I read. And he specifically, him and the cinematographer watched American movies because they wanted to shoot it like an American movie. So they wanted something that was always moving, always fast paced. Camera was always doing dolly shots. Editing was really fast. It just looks great. It looks fantastic.
Yep.
I want Paul Verhoeven to do more science fiction. He's only done like Total Recall and Hollow Man.
Ugh.
And then he's
And
done-
Starship
Hollow
Troopers.
and Starship
Man?
Troopers, and then done a bunch of dramas. I want him to do a new
What's
science
like a
fiction film.
recent? I meant to look up his credits. What's
He's-
like a recent? one
I don't
he's
know
done?
what it's called. There was something that came out in
no idea.
2016 about like a woman who gets raped and like goes at revenge to like find the rapist. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool, but I want it to be in the
Oh,
future.
that movie was nominated.
Elle, I think it was
Yeah,
called.
that movie was nominated for like
okay.
Best Actress.
Oh, all
It
right.
sounded really cool, actually.
Yeah, I want future. Do sci-fi, Paul Verhoeven. I know you listen to the podcast. So.
Yeah, you're a big fan. I know.
Oh, he did Basic Instinct and Showgirls.
Of course.
Yes.
Nothing really else that.
No, I would definitely.
Interesting that
Total
we haven't
Recall.
already said.
No, yeah, I think the dude really did master kind of the campy science fiction. I think all of those science fiction movies work because
Wonderful.
of the way he made them. not because necessarily like the script was a strong thing or anything like that. Like Starship Troopers was on the verge of not being a good movie. Like anyone else, I think it would have been a terrible film.
I agree. Andy's looking at something.
I was just looking at his movie list. We pretty much touched on all the movies he's made.
Yeah,
that we
nothing
love.
interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Yeah.
From the Dutchland. Thank you for rating, liking, and subscribing. Our next episode has the tagline, "He's about to turn a 5-star hotel into a 3-ring circus." You guessed it. Our next episode in 2 weeks is going to be Dunstan Checks In.
The world's most debonair hero
Yeah! There's a gorilla in the bathroom!
can be found where the action is. His name is Dunstan. He's conducting covert operations, romancing irresistible women,
Oh, that's just how I like it.
and facing unimaginable danger. Dunstan checks in.
Yes.
More. I like it rough.
Oh.